Hey y'all,
What's up, y'all?
I'm Elise,
And I'm Will.
and this is
Team
Team Tatum.
Tatum.
Team Tatum! If this is your first time watching one of our videos, first of all, welcome. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button before you leave. If it is your second or any time after second time, welcome back. And if you haven't subscribed, also hit that subscribe button. You know who I'm talking to. But also, Happy New Year, buddy.
Happy New Year, buddy.
Happy New Year, buddies.
So we're finally getting to our second movie that we were supposed to give you back in October. The first being Don't Look Now. This one is 1981's An American Werewolf in London. So quick recap for the last time. Back in October, we went camping to Cedar Hill State Park up near Dallas. You can go check that video out. And the plan was to download 2 movies and each night watch and review a movie at the campsite. Fortunately, the wind was completely unruly and we could not record because all you would have heard was the wind. So we watched the movies, said we review when we get back. Obviously, we did not because we just did Don't Look Now, what,
Last
December?
month.
Yeah, last month. And now we're just getting to An American Werewolf in London. But we are trying to get back on pace for 2023. That's our goal.
No fooling.
No fooling. Anyway, so this is directed by John Landis, who is famous for, but at this time, for Animal House, uh, Blues Brothers, and quite a few other things.
At this time.
At this time, I can't remember them all, but I know Blues Brothers and Animal House came out before this came out, I think. Anyway, as the title suggests, it's about an American werewolf in London.
To the point.
Yeah. So it's about 2 guys backpacking through Europe. Uh, one of them gets bit by a werewolf. He doesn't know that. He knows he gets attacked by a wolf. Wakes up in a hospital and finds out he's a werewolf when the moon, goes full and chaos ensues.
Chaos reigns.
Anywho, the main guy, never seen that cat before in my life.
Never ever.
Uh, his eventual love interest, I technically have seen her before, but I don't remember. Like, I've seen movies with her in it because I looked up the IMDb credits, but I couldn't point, like, oh yeah, I know her from this movie. But she's been in a ton of stuff since then. The main guy, pretty much, this was it. He didn't do nothing else. Guess who the best friend was?
I know him.
Oh, you know him already?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't recognize him, but I was like, I know you from somewhere. Where do I know you from? It's Uncle Nicky from This Is Us. I don't know how I didn't recognize him. He looks exactly the same, just younger. Like everything
Minus the
about him. Yeah.
glasses.
No glasses, no beard. Otherwise, exactly the same. I was like, hey, look at you, Uncle Nicky. Uh,
He's been in several movies. He was really popular in the late 80s, early 90s. He played a dad in a lot of stuff
hmm.
and all that kind of stuff. That's where I mostly know him from his earlier work. But then, of course, is Uncle Nicky more recently.
Yeah, I saw his picture and I was like, get out that show is. Because his current IMDb picture is how he looks now. So I was like, Uncle Nicky. Uh, but yeah, so this is a first for our 1001 movies you must watch before you die because we've seen this movie before. However, I didn't really remember it
Yeah.
because we watched it some years ago, like within the last 5 years, we've seen it.
I think
Uh,
2020 maybe.
yeah,
We got a lot of movies in that year.
yeah. Generally in October went terrible in 2022,
Movie
movie
wise.
wise. Because normally, like pretty much every other day, we watch a horror movie, some type of horror genre throughout the month, and we watch like 4 movies the whole month. But this is how we watched American Werewolf the first time. Was one of our binges of horror movies, and I was like, meh, about it at the time. So I found out it was on this list, and I was like, okay, this is the first one we'll have to rewatch. I mean, I'm sure we've seen other movies on this list, but we haven't gotten to them yet. Watching it with a fresh pair of eyes, I really enjoyed this. It wasn't like the best movie ever, but it entertained me throughout. I've also learned in my old age, that if I watch movies at a certain time, after a certain time at night, then I'm not really engaged because I'm fighting sleep basically. Because I just get tired late at night. And so
He is in immense denial about this as well.
yeah, I'm slowly starting to come to terms with it. Like I'm so focused on staying awake that I'm not really focused on the movie. And I'm fairly certain this is one of those cases when we originally watched this movie, 2 years ago, that I wouldn't really invest it. Because this time I felt completely different about it.
Can we talk about the special effects of him turning?
Yes, so the special effects are fire. Love it. Still hold up.
Yeah, it
Movies,
would be great. In today's movies,
yeah,
it was ahead of its
it was
time.
ahead of its time
For when
in
this movie came
1981.
out. It's great stuff.
Yeah, for everybody who's like, you know, I hate.
Sorry. Did
What?
John Landis do Thriller? Who did
Yes,
Thriller?
yes, he did Thriller,
Okay.
and this movie is why he did. Well, Michael Jackson saw this movie and was like, "Yes, I want to be a werewolf in my music video," and got John Landis, the whole crew. He got the guy who did the original makeup and special effects. He bought all them people
Thought so.
and had them do it. So, spoiler alert: this movie absolutely deserves to be on this list because without it, we would have never got Thriller.
Yeah.
Come on,
The video.
the video, which is like one of the best videos of all time, top 5. Uh,
Maybe even top 2.
yeah,
and
maybe.
it ain't number 2.
uh, but yeah, the special effects were great. There's movies where the special or visual effects are great at the time, and then you watch it, a decade later or whatever. I'm looking at you,
Eyeballs fall out.
Lost in Space. But that mess does not hold up.
I got a headache watching that movie.
It does not hold up, but this holds up. It was like they went through a lot. The funny part is, I was looking up my IMDb trivia after we watched it, and it's a fairly short transformation scene. Like it doesn't go by like super fast, but they filmed for a long period of time, and that's all that they got captured. And the guy who came up with everything was ticked off. He was like, "I did all this work, and that's it." And he was like, "We can't make the whole movie the transformation or whatever." He was like, "I actually added time because I didn't think you were gonna do that good." So I had already planned it out to be quick cuts, so you couldn't really focus on any flaws or
like
whatever.
details and stuff.
Yeah, but he was like, "You actually blew it out of the park," and I kept a lot of the footage, but still, we don't need 30 minutes of transforming. But yeah, it's great. It was like it looked cool and it made sense. Like you saw body parts elongating or shortening up and bones shifting around and all that stuff. Like it's real grotesque. I liked it. Uh, the only part I didn't like is this has nothing to do with the transformation, but one of his little fever dreams, he looks like a vampire instead of a werewolf. Like he's all gray.
But he doesn't know what a werewolf looks like. It's literally a fever dream, like you said.
Yeah.
So he's just imagining.
He looked like Johnny Depp in Dark Shadows. Is what he looked like.
Warning, spoilers ahead.
Even okay, outside of the werewolf, the makeup, the zombie makeup for his best friend, as the movie goes on. So after he gets, spoiler alert, his best friend gets killed. The werewolf just take him out. Why the werewolf don't bite him? I don't know. He killed him.
It tried to.
Then bites his friend.
It like attacked him, and then the friend like jumped in the way almost trying to block him, and then it was like, all right, I'll eat you then.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what happened. So yeah, his friend got tore to shreds. He got turned into pulled pork. So anyone who gets killed by the werewolf in this lore, is forced to walk the earth in limbo, looking however they look when they die. So he comes to him in a vision. I mean, he's awake, like he's fully conscious, cognitive, and all that. As we're talking to you, he's talking to his dead friend, and people think he's crazy. But when his friend shows up, his just pieces of his face,
Smithereens.
just shredded up, just flapping or whatever. And it looks horrible. Like just like imagine a fresh body being mauled by a bear or something. But his friend shows up like 2 or 3 more times throughout the movie, and every time he shows up, he's more decayed.
Yeah, his decomposition keeps progressing.
Yeah.
Every time.
To the point where he's basically like skull and eyeball just sticking out. He doesn't have any lips anymore. It's just all mandible right here. Looks really great. Still holds up. I wish they still did more special effects in movies. Like I'm cool with visual effects, but which if you don't know the difference, visual effects is anything that they do post filming. So everything they do on a computer. Special effects is anything they do during filming, like on screen makeup and
like
squibs and all that stuff.
Physical.
Yeah, digital versus physical. So stop calling everything special effects because everything's not special effects, or vice versa.
I said I do that too.
And I hate it.
I ain't go to school for this. I don't know nothing about that. The effects are all special to me.
But I don't want to do away with visual effects because they're needed. But sometimes like you could have done that with special effects. You just being lazy.
We'll fix it in post.
Like get out of here, Tyler Perry. So yeah, the movie from a story point perspective was pretty good. It wasn't the best. Some stuff was just like I don't find that believable. Like the nurse, the whole love interest thing. I was just like, I don't. That was immediate. Like as soon as they met, she was like, "Do you want me to spoon feed you?"
Right. I don't do this with all my patients.
It's like clearly you do.
Want to come live with me when you get out the hospital?
Immediately. Let's move in together. I just met you. Also, what about his parents? He just survived a wolf attack.
They called and told him. That was it. They're like, I can't come over there. I ain't got no money like that. We flying to London to come get you.
You ain't go to your friend's funeral.
He's in the hospital.
It took him a while to get the body back to the United States.
Oh, well, he wasn't in the United States then. Can't go to the funeral if you ain't there.
Go home.
He can't. He broke. Everybody broke.
If you got money to get over to London, you got money to get back.
He had to wait until it was time for his flight to return.
Anyway.
He wasn't cleared by the hospital yet to travel.
But you cleared to move in with a nurse.
Yeah, she a nurse. She gonna take care of her.
So yeah, that whole thing, I was just like, But I understand she was cute and all that. For him to be like, yeah, I'm with this, but for her to be like, I'm with this, that was my problem. Like, why would you go this route? Whatever. The way that the werewolf comes into play. So, I like this. The movie starts off with them riding in on a truck filled with sheep, which I thought was dope because it's a wolf in sheep's clothing. Is what it's alluding to. But they're backpacking through Europe, and they find this First of all, you find a random pub, like out in the middle of nowhere. Like I guess there's a village nearby, but it's a pub, and the logo for the little sign hanging is like a wolf getting impaled with a knife or whatever, and it's called the Slaughtered Lamb. And they're like, "Yeah, let's go in." Honestly, I would have gone in too. I'd be like, "That's
What's
cool.
The problem?
What's the?" Well, they go in. It does the classic, record scratch, and nobody says anything to them. They're just staring. It's a bunch of angry people. Like, what are you doing here? It's like, first of all, lock the door. If you don't want nobody coming in, have it so that you got to knock.
Or at least have something like private bar or something. A sign up.
But they come in like Americans and are like, "Hey, how y'all doing?" They not reading the room at all. And the bartender lady comes over and they're like, "Hey, we'll have beer or whatever." And they're like, "We ain't got no beer." It's like, "All right, we need some food because we're cold. We want something to warm us up. We ain't got no food." And he was like, "Okay,
what do you
got?" She was like, "If you want something hot, it's gonna be tea." And they were like, "Bet." Give us some tea then. We ain't got no tea. And it's like, it'll right.
It's the password. The password is it? The password is what? It. You just said so. The password isn't it. The password is what? Got it. I got it. Right. It'll right. What?
But they're still persistent on staying here. I would be like, okay, obviously
Clearly, we're not welcome.
I'm not supposed to be here. I'm on dip. But no, they stay there. And then obviously because they don't have an accent and their attitude is the way it is, the people know that they're Americans.
Because they do have an accent.
Well,
an American
accent. And they're dumb. But one of the guys tries to be like friendly and he tells this joke, which I don't know if it would fly today. I found it funny and I don't think it was offensive, but you know, everybody finds everything offensive. But he tells a joke, and then because he finds out like they're from Texas, I think they said they were from Texas. Well, they mentioned Texas. I don't know if they were from Texas, but after that, it gets hostile, and they basically kick him out. But then immediately after kicking him out, the bartender lady's like, "What? Why would you let them leave?" It's like, you kicked them out.
You were part of this group.
And they were like, we didn't hear nothing. We didn't see nothing, because you hear like the werewolf howl, and they all worried or whatever. It's like, are you worried or do you want them to get out? Like, what's the vibe here? Because you give me mixed signals. Also, if y'all are worried about this werewolf, why would y'all risk coming out to go to this pub? Why wouldn't y'all just stay at the house?
Because the pub is blessed and it's got the markings.
Oh yeah, it's got the markings to protect them. You're right. I forgot about that part. That's where the Texas came in. Yeah. There's a pentagram on the wall, and they see the star, and they make a big Texas star joke. So anyway, they kick him out, feel bad about it for whatever reason, and they tell him stay on the road. Well, no, the guy who's driving the truck, who in the very beginning, the sheep truck, told him stay on the road, don't get on the moors, which is the grass, the mountains, whatever,
prairie
and
situation.
Surprise, surprise, what they do? Don't stay on the road.
Immediately
start walking off the road. You hear the werewolf. They hear the werewolf. They know it's circling them. It attacks. The people from the pub show up and shoot the werewolf. Immediately, it's a naked body with bullet holes in it. So, like, oh, that was the werewolf or whatever. And then the old boy passes out, wakes up in the hospital. The doctor has no bedside manner. As soon as he wakes up, the doctor comes in. He's like, I don't know how to tell you this. Your friend's dead. Like, there was no pause for him to think about how to tell him. He was just, your friend's dead. And then that's when he starts seeing his buddy, like, in the afterlife or whatever. And he starts having the fever dreams of him running through the forest, him being naked. You think he has, like, 2 or 3 in the movie. He doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, what's real and what's not.
His friend tells him, you got bit by a werewolf. You're going to turn into a werewolf before he disappears.
You're going to be visited by 3 ghosts.
And he was like, you should kill yourself, because then you won't turn into a werewolf and hurt anybody. Also, I can get out of limbo because I can't leave until the curse is broken. Which leads me to my question. One of the reasons this is not a great movie, still a good movie, but why it's not great. Why didn't they shoot him? If you saw that he got attacked by the wolf, okay, kill the werewolf. That's good. Good job. Thumbs up. Why not kill him? You saw he bit. You know he gonna turn into a werewolf.
They were like, he not gonna be by us.
It's like they could have nipped that in the bud real quick. Boom.
Our werewolf got killed.
So anyway, like we said, old girl winds up taking a liking to him immediately, asks him to move in. He done forgot about the whole werewolf thing because he getting some now, until she leaves for work and leaves him alone, and it's the full moon night. He starts, having hot flashes, rips off his clothes, trying to stay cool, and then does the infamous transformation scene, which is 10 out of 10. So goes out, murders people.
Does what werewolves
do.
I said werewolves.
Now
werewolves do.
Now the werewolf itself, little lacking.
Yeah, could have got some work done.
Good little work done.
That
The transformation though, he looked great.
Top notch.
But when he turned into the actual werewolf, it was like
Somebody put some shadows on this thing. Stat.
that thing looked bad, but it was doing work though. It was killing.
Eating them
It was
foods.
eating foods. Most of them had it kind of coming. Like, not that they did anything wrong, but they made choices, and it was like, these are your consequences. Like,
They're
I think
doing too much. Hey, what's that over there?
yeah,
What's that noise?
going
Those
places
kinda
they ain't had no
situations.
business going. It's like, if you'd have just gone your regular routine, you wouldn't be ate up right now. But whatever. Well, those homeless people didn't have it coming. They were just minding their business, trying to stay warm by the fire. So R.I.P. to them. But he wakes up, and after his first little bout of murder, wakes up in a wolf's den at a zoo. How he got in there, I don't know. Broke in probably, but he wakes up as a human, naked, and
Naked.
that scene was real. They put him in there naked in a real wolf den or whatever. They had it like timed out, like they did the preparations. I was like, I don't care what preparations you got.
Right.
I'm not doing that.
Wolf. What if the wolf went wolf?
Yeah, exactly. Then you'd be like, I don't know what
Oh,
happened.
it's crazy.
But yeah, so then he comes home, tells his new, lady friend, and she's just like, you crazy. Whatever.
Didn't he even like try to get her to time up or something?
Yeah, and she was like, whatever. He gets over it pretty quick, goes back, until it comes time where he's gonna like transform again. So he's up there for a while. Cause there's only one full moon a month, right?
Yeah. I don't really know how that works. I know it's a full moon, but it'd be looking full still for a couple days, even though it's changing. So I don't know how that works.
Well, anyway,
Y'all tell us how that works.
another night where he can turn into a werewolf pops up, and he's trying to like, now that it's like, oh, time again. Now he panicking again, right? So he tries to make a scene out in the square or whatever. Tries to get a cop to arrest him, and the cop doesn't care or whatever.
Like, get out of here, crazy! Like, lock me up.
Yeah, lock me up.
please.
He starts yelling all kind of obscenities and all of that, and they just
Talking about
like,
the queen and stuff.
yeah, go walk it off. They think he's drunk or whatever. Do they eventually arrest him?
No, he ended up changing again.
Oh, at the movie theater.
And
yeah,
then they caught up with and was like, oh, it is real.
Yeah, so I think this is the third time that his buddy. Yeah, so the first time was in the hospital. The second time is at the old girl's apartment. The third time is at the movie theater. Why would you go to a movie theater? I don't know. But he's at a movie theater. His buddy visits him. This is when he's basically all skull, well, mostly skull. And there's other people in the movie theater that also were killed by him that are like, yeah, you should off yourself.
Because they're all stuck in purgatory.
Yeah, they're all stuck in purgatory. And it's full moon night. He starts to transform in the movie theater. They don't go through the whole transformation thing like they did before. They give you a Cliff Notes version of it. And the attendant comes in wondering what all the ruckus is. And he's like, get out of here. Of course, the attendant is like,
I'm going
huh?
see.
What? He gets murdered or whatever. People running everywhere. Cops show up. It's a whole crowd of people. You know how people do. They want to go to where the crowd is instead of being like, maybe we should go the opposite way because clearly danger's afoot. And he busts out of the theater, kills some people along the way. They chase him into an alley. By this time, I guess it's on the news, and his girl sees it, and so he's like, "Oh snap, he was serious. He is a werewolf." They corner him in an alley, and she's trying to be like, listen, come back. And right before he's about to pounce on her, the cops unload on him, and
Tony Montana style.
yeah, camera cuts, and it's a naked man riddled with bullet holes, just like the beginning. And people are like, whoop, and walk off.
Right.
In the movie. Some people I've heard
The movie went off.
Some people I've heard hate that ending. But I know why, because people don't like abrupt endings. I like abrupt endings as long as everything got
Yeah.
taken
Like,
care of.
what more could have been done after that?
Yeah, like
The
what are
whole
you gonna do?
purpose of the movie was him being a werewolf. His friend telling him he has to die.
Yep,
He died.
he died. That's it. Curse ended. Cause he ate all his victims. There wasn't no bites.
Yeah, ain't
So
nobody turning from
yeah,
him.
ain't nobody turning. He was thorough. He ate everything. Uh, but yeah, it was entertaining this go round because it was, I wasn't sleepy when we watched this. I was actually paying attention. Like I said, the special effects still hold up to this day. Uh, acting was decent, whatever, cool. I would suggest somebody watch this. We would never have gotten the Thriller music video. He went on to make a bunch of other good movies. We wouldn't have gotten Coming to America or Trading Places. Well, we might have gotten them, but if this wasn't such a success,
Maybe he wouldn't have got another
he wouldn't have
chance.
got another chance. So Coming to America is my personal favorite movie of all time. So I definitely thank you know American Werewolf for doing good.
We're talking about John Landis, by the
Yeah,
way.
John Landis. uh, so yeah, things like that for me makes you a solidified spot on the 1001 movies you must watch before you die list. Because so far, it's been a little rough
Yeah.
for these movies to be on this list. I must watch before I die.
Right.
This one, yeah, I would agree. Would put this on the list.
I feel like this list should be called 1001 Firsts of Movies that have been made. Like, a lot of the movies on the list, it's the first of its kind, or it did something in the movie for the first time, and that's why it's on the list. But that doesn't mean that you need to watch it just because they were the first one to do it or
Right.
the most popular people that did it.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean that.
Uh, but yeah, I would vote it on. Go check it out. We watched it on Amazon Prime. Sure, you can find it other places too. But as far as streaming is concerned for free, well, if you have Prime,
Yeah.
you can watch it. Yeah, I don't, except for Uncle Nicky, well, and I guess the lady, I don't remember her name,
Yeah.
but their careers continued on.
Oh, that one man off of Snatch, the taxi
Oh
driver,
yeah, so the first time we watched it, I didn't see him. I probably did, but I was
just
asleep.
didn't recognize him.
It was probably when I nodded off one of the many times. But this time, I caught Bricktop from Snatch, the guy with the big Coke bottle glasses, who's uh one of the bad guys, one of the antagonists. He's in it as a taxi cab driver. I was like, hey, it's Bricktop. He's only in it for like 5 seconds. But he has a very distinct face, so I recognized him. So that was cool. There's a lot of British people in it, which is cool.
Yeah, they probably have a lot of British movies.
Yeah, probably.
that we
Yeah,
just don't know
we
about.
just don't know them. But as an American film, I appreciate that they actually hired British actors
Since it was in London.
since it was
and
in
all.
London, and all, or English actors since they were in London. But yeah, I had heard of this movie because I was a huge Michael. Well, I am a huge Michael Jackson fan. But growing up, I knew that John Landis directed the Thriller video because I watched one of the behind the scene things, and I knew why he directed it because Michael Jackson had watched this movie. So I've always known about this movie, but I didn't watch it till 2020 or whatever we watched it. When did you hear about this?
When it came out. Well, not when it came out
la-di-da.
because I wasn't born yet, but as soon as I was old enough to know about it.
So we're both the same. We both grew up knowing about the movie. Was that the first time when we watched it together? That you watched it?
Maybe it's my first time I remember watching it. So
Okay. That counts. Uh, so yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Wanna rate?
yeah.
What do you rate it?
I would give An American Werewolf in London 3.5 cowboy ninjas out of 5. I liked it, but I didn't love it. And it definitely wasn't perfect. So 3.5.
I concur, and that's an average of 3.5
This brother's
cowboy
been
ninjas
studying his
out of
math.
5. Yeah. So it's not. It was good. It was good. It just wasn't, like you said, wasn't perfect. Had some issues here and there, but overall, you're gonna come out being like, that was a good time. I didn't waste my time. Good popcorn movie.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, finally done with that. 8 years later.
On to
On
2023.
to 2023.
And we will
Be consistent.
watch movies and then review those movies within a week's time at the most.
Yeah. Pray for us.
Stick us to it. I don't know if that's the right phrase for that, but do it.
Hold us to it.
Hold us accountable.
Hold us to it. If you've seen An American Werewolf in London, what did you think about it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? What was your introduction to it? Do you like John Landis? Turns out, I like John Landis. I like a lot of his films.
I don't think I've seen a movie by him that I haven't liked.
Yeah, agreed. That's it. We're done here. But if you like this video, like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when we consistently post videos for our reviews.
And we plan on going camping once a month this year. So if you're here for that, we got you covered.
Got some new camping stuff on the way. But as always, this has been Team Tatum.